Hi folks, nubkeks here, welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, I have actually a really cool team for you here. It is not only an epic only team, not only a full auto team, but also a one key hard team. Yes, that's right. We're doing multiple things in today's video. This is for the return of Rotation 2 for the Hydra. Also stay tuned. I'm obviously going to be doing more videos as well, because this one requires some pretty good champions, obviously, like Geomancer. I will bring you some alternative builds over the next couple of weeks for sure. Is usually when I'm going pretty big on Hydra and trying to come up with as many comps as I can. But yeah, we're diving into it. Rotation 2, the starting heads. We've got the head of Blight doing poisons, so we want to be bringing in preferably some HP burns and block buffs to stop the poison cloud. Head of Torment, we want to bring in something to deal with those true fears, like Inquisitor Shamail or Perfect Veil. Head of Mischief, you want to bring in block buffs, and you can bring in a Mischief tank. I am using a Mischief tank in this particular run, which is where you have a champion with a lot of buffs and really high resistance, so they can't have their turn meter or buffs stolen. I don't think that's as essential, because Head of Decay isn't there, but we are running that option in this comp. And then finally, the Head of Wrath, who hits you really hard. For him, we want block buffs to stop him getting increased attack and block debuffs and reflect damage. And we also want decrease attack if possible, though I think the decrease attack also not essential, at least on hard. You can definitely survive without decrease attack. That being said, in this comp we do have it. So what is the comp we've got going left to right? Let's talk you through. On the far left, that is Tainix Hateflower. I think Hell Hades says I'm the only person he has ever seen that used Tainix Hateflower. She is certainly replaceable in this team, but she's solid. What does she do? She brings us an AoE decreased speed, and she brings us a decent chunk of extra healing whenever she hits someone with decreased speed. Bit of damage reduction with her passive as well. We have her in a Guardian set to amp up that damage reduction. You can replace her with anyone else that does decrease speed or increase speed, that sort of thing. Basically some speed manipulation. So, I mean, in terms of legendaries, Shamrock, Lady Kimmy, they're obviously going to be way better than her, and so on. Stuff like that. Next up, Inquisitor Shamail. He is by far the easiest way to counter the Head of Torment. By far the easiest way to do this full auto. You can use other champions like Perfect Veil champions, but it becomes much more difficult full auto to use Perfect Veil, because you're not, or it's highly unlikely that you're going to be able to maintain a full uptime on Perfect Veil, in which case you do sort of want to manually target your champions so they don't hit Head of Torment when the Veil falls off, just to limit those true fears, and you don't want to waste their abilities when they are true feared. Inquisitor Shamail is by far the easiest way to deal with this, and he does some decent damage as well. Next up then, we've got Ugo, AoE decreased defense and block buffs. She's our block buff champion and decreased defense champion. So it's her two jobs in one. She also is a big source of our healing, and she can remove the heal reduction if Head of Decay shows up. By the way, you're really hoping Head of Decay doesn't show up. You'll have way higher damage without Head of Decay, because we don't have any provokes to control him. So he's the worst head you can get. He also gives them a lot of AoE damage reduction. Yeah, Ugo's great. The Leech, she just placed it right there. The Leech is also super helpful for keeping your team alive. So she's fantastic. You can replace her. I think the easiest thing to replace her with is Deliana, right? That everyone has. Everyone's got Deliana. She brings you the healing, the Leech, and the block buffs. It's most important to have block buffs that can affect Head of Wrath. He's the most important one to block buffs on. So you need a magic, Void, obviously, or Force Affinity champion. You don't want to bring in a Spirit Affinity block buffs this rotation, because you really want to block buffs on Wrath. That's the most important one. In the middle, Geomancer. He's our lead position right here. Geomancer is the most important in this comp, the most irreplaceable. He is our main source of damage. He gives us damage reduction. He's giving us the burns and weakens, which up our damage more. The decreased accuracy from his A1, actually very useful for surviving Head of Blight. It really reduces the damage from Blight. And yeah, Geomancer, that single target damage from the burns and reflecting damage is what helps us break champions free mostly. Yeah, he's just super good. And oh, I forgot to mention, but Inquisitor Shamail with his passive is turn meter boosting the Geomancer, which obviously makes it even more effective. So he works really well. Fun thing on full auto, he's actually quite smart when the heads are alive. He'll spread his burn around all the heads. I've never actually tried this before. He actually spreads his burn around all the heads on full auto. But as you can see here, when a head is dead, he does burn the dead heads, which is not necessarily something you want to do. It's not the worst because the weaken is actually quite good against the decapitated heads, but it's also not ideal. Oh, also, I did take it off auto at one point here because everyone died except for Ursula. We got a little unlucky. I just wanted to check, did she have her revive? Because I was wondering if she might have missed it, but no, she had a revive. So I just clicked back into auto. I was just checking to see if I needed to restart the run because I was watching this as it was going through. But don't worry, everything is full auto. We do click the heads that eat our champions, that just to make it more straightforward. You don't need to do that, but it's going to make it more consistent. And it means, I'm not sure, like it might take maybe 2 or 3 runs if you don't, potentially, to get it in a 1 key. If you click the decapitated heads, it's much, much, much easier. Right, we mentioned Ursula the Mourner. She brings us AoE Revive with increased defense and strength, and it's a long cooldown, but it's useful, as you can see, because we can die. She also brings us increase attack and decrease attack AoE, which is very, very good. The decrease attack, this makes it much more consistent, because it makes that Head of Wrath barely a threat. You can see right there, he hit us with increase attack, and he barely tickled us, right? Because we've got the defense and strengthen on a few champions from Ursula, and the decrease attack. So really good. The easiest thing to replace her with, honestly, is Arbiter. If you've got Arbiter, which a lot of you will have, Arbiter slots in really well. She gives you increased attack. She gives you healing, which Ursula doesn't. She brings you AoE Revive on a shorter cooldown, some buff stripping to remove increased attack from Wrath. So she's also a really good one you can put in with the turn meter boosting too. And then finally, we've got Oboro. Oboro is in as the Head of Mischief tank. So she is built with really high resistance, and she also does really solid damage, a decent chunk of damage. Yeah, she also brings us some supplemental decreased defense. One thing that I didn't use because we're playing on full auto here, I did turn off the buff steal. Oboro and Geomancer both have buff steal abilities. So you can use those if you're playing on manual to steal off the increased attack from Wrath. Again, just to make it super straightforward. Basically, Wrath will get increased attack sometimes if he's in there with Head of Decay. That's just the way full auto works, yeah? If you want to semi-manual it, like jump in and manually make them steal buffs, it's really helpful. But, you know, I didn't do that for this run. There you go. You can see we've actually passed the 1 key requirement already. Boom, lovely, really, really nice. In terms of Oboro, you can replace her with any Mischief tank. She is probably the easiest, well, she's the second easiest one. Berdal Fellhammer, in my opinion, is the easiest. Very straightforward to make him work. Oboro is very easy because she simply gives herself so many buffs. And again, she does pretty good damage as well. So she's a nice one to bring in, one of my favorites. But there's lots and lots of good ones, right, that you can bring in as well. But there you go. Let's actually skip to the end here. You get the gist. And basically where it starts falling apart is kind of past that, you know, around about turn 120 is when it started falling apart for me. I think we lost Inquisitor Shamael. He got eaten. And yeah, we sort of flopped over at that point. Around about turn 160 is where we lost. Turn 160. 19 minutes in, full auto. Again, only clicking the heads that eat the champions just to make it more consistent to break us out. We look at the stats overall. Geomancer, as you can see, being boosted by Shamael. He is the biggest chunk of the damage, 11.7 million damage. Really strong. Oboro, actually, again, supplementing solid damage with almost 4 million. And tanking Mischief, just reducing the amount of turns that the enemy heads take. Not super essential, but she works well. Inquisitor Shamael, I would say essential for an easy full auto. 4.8 million. Good damage as well. He's in a Guardian set too, which is reducing our damage taken. You can see Ugo is our primary source of healing, keeping the team alive. Block buffs, she's really, really good. Ursula, most of this healing, in fact, all this healing is herself with a regen set, so that she stays alive and keeps everyone alive. And yeah, then Tanix providing about half the healing of Ugo, so some supplemental healing, some speed manipulation. Probably the most replaceable champion in the team. We jump in here. You can actually see, like, you know, compared to like our clan here, for a full epic team, like by choosing our champions very carefully and really focusing on those synergies, we're able to come up with, did we beat them both? 27.49. Yes, we beat them both. Okay, boom. Yeah, by coming up with really good synergies, and obviously some of the best epics in the game, like no question, Geomancer, Shamael, duh. But you're able to you know, fight alongside these teams with a bunch of legendaries, which is really cool. It's that 1 key for hard. Very doable this rotation, and obviously the less decay shows up and the more torment shows up, You can go even higher than this. Like, this is not the peak of the comp. Oh, I wanted to show you. This is why I'm here in game. I wanted to show you, first of all, the team setup. I've been trying some other teams as well, so I'll be letting you know about those. And obviously try to do a non-Geomancer, non-Shemale team as well. Geo, A3, priority 1. Aboro, exact same setup. Inquisitor, just leave him do his thing. It's priority 1 on this anyway. With Ugo, just force Ugo to do Maelstrom Rack every time, and then let her decide when to do Ugo's Brew. She'll do it whenever it's needed, but she won't waste it. And then Ursula, I actually forced her to do Waves of Grief first, just to get more of that out. I don't know. You could probably leave her to do whatever. I think she priority 1's on Requiem. So it's sort of up to you. I wanted more casts of Waves of Grief just to get that more increased attack. Increased attack really good for Aboro, Shemale. Not bad for Geo. In fact, all these champions scale off attack, so worth it in this team. And then, important with Tanix, her AI is really stupid. You need to force her to use Spiteful Cut. Like, I did some test runs with her, and she literally sat there for about, I don't know, 6 or 7 turns in a row. None of the enemy heads had decreased speed. She only heals if the target's on a decreased speed, and she was just spamming A1. I was going, what are you doing? So, yeah, forcing her into that. Now, if I show you the builds for these champions as well, let's go take a look at the builds. What do we have? So, Ursula the Mourner, she's in here in regen set, and she is built good solid speed, good defensive stats. She's actually got a mix here. Now, you don't need this, right? You don't need this. In fact, guys, here, let me show this to you. Let me show this to you so you guys can work this stuff out yourself. If you come into my Discord channel, where, by the way, we do, like, giveaways, shard pulls, account takeovers. We just finished a giveaway. The 5 winners are here. Congratulations to you guys. And make sure you're in my Discord, guys, to catch all this stuff. If you go into useful info, check out the Hydra stats by Bobo. And here you can see all of the head stats. Now, this is the easiest way to figure it out, right? If we come into hard, in terms of like their resistances, the highest resistance on hard, now these are out of date. Oh, I should mention, these stats are out of date. Their defense, attack, and HP are lower, but the speed, resistance, and accuracy is still the same. So we're on rotation 2 on hard. I mean, they're the same, right? But the highest resistance is 190 with Head of Suffering. Now, he gives everyone plus 50. So put him at 240. So, you know, roughly about, 240, 250 accuracy is going to be absolutely plenty. Even 200 is going to be fine. For your resistance, to resist Head of Mischief, you really want 410 plus to survive Head of Mischief. For your Head of Mischief dedicated tank, I'd really recommend going all the way up to like 460. Go 150 higher just to be super, super safe. So yeah, with Ursula, she doesn't need the resistance. Not going to do anything for you, really. It's a nice little bonus to resist the poisons, but not essential. And you want about 250 accuracy. 250 accuracy, you can push for 250 speed, defensive stats, boom. She's like this, extended buffs, extended debuffs, War Master. Aboro, she's like this, counterattacking stuff, and War Master. She is in with high resistance. She's got 500. That's good enough for Nightmare. You don't need that. About 450. As close to 450 resistance as you can. Like I said, if you cannot build a resistance tank for hard, you don't need that much. 400 for, aim for 400 for normal, 450 for hard. If you can't do that, just don't bring in a resistance tank. You can bring in some, like, just swap in Deliana. Like, throw in a Deliana for more block buffs, more healing, more AoE damage, and you're good, you know? But yeah, that's how she's built. She's got low speed, she's got high attack, 70% crit rate. She gives herself increased crit, and she's got high crit damage. She also has 250 accuracy, so good enough for hard to land her decreased defense. So that's how she is built. Again, you could obviously sacrifice her damage, or you could look at my Berdal guide, Berdal Fellhammer. He's a really good alternative that's way easier to build, and he only needs 3D resistance, you know? Next up, we had Shemale. No, I use this Shemale. This is my Guardian set Shemale, helping the team stay alive. You could also build Shemale as a resistance tank if you've got a Blood Shield accessory. Good alternative. However, with this Shemale, he's coming in. He has just really, really high HP and some crit rate, and that's sort of it. Bit of a generalist build. And yeah, then he's coming in with these masteries, War Master, counterattack stuff. Simple enough. We had... we have Tainit. First of all, actually, let's look at Geomancer. This is my Geo. So it's coming like this. All my Geos with the same masteries. Reflex set is the best. With him, you want good speed. Good speed. You want enough accuracy. Again, you only need 250. 250 for hard. and just enough defenses to be safe enough that he's not going to die. Very easy to build Geomancer. It's one of the best things about him. For Tanix, Tanix is not built very well. Okay. Whoops. She didn't have a banner, so no banner is optimal. No. Okay, she's supposed to have a banner. Whoops. Guardian set for her. Not necessary, but it would be the best one. And then she's built... She should have higher speed. That's why her speed is low. She's missing a banner. So she should have higher speed. Her accuracy is low. So she should have an accuracy banner with speed. I think I just ran out of them. Again, build her with lots of HP. 100% crit rate is necessary, so she lands her decreased speed. For her masteries, extend her debuffs and War Master. Was that it? Who else did we have in there? I've forgotten. Yes. I didn't show Ugo. I've shown the rest. So Ugo. Okay, cool. Ugo's the last one. Ugo, like this, better debuffs, extended debuffs, War Master, and she is coming in Relentless. You can see her stuff's not fully rolled up, but she's geared very well. Really high HP, really high speed, high accuracy. That's it. High HP, high HP, speed, and accuracy. Relentless is amazing on her. Now, if you don't have Relentless, Guardian's a good option. If you don't have Guardian, speed sets, perception sets, anything that helps you hit those stats is good. It's important that she runs fast. You want her to get through her turns quickly, because it's really her skills that are super powerful. It's her skills. And yeah, you just want her to be survivable, basically. That's it. So there you go, guys. Boom. 1 key hard, full auto, using only epics. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Rotation 2. Yeah, hopefully it was helpful. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.